App Central. We find out how Shopify is taking the e-commerce world by storm. We chat with funny man Penn Jillette about the magic of the internet and Twitter. Plus, we take a look at Google's hot new laptop that ships fully loaded right out of the box. Welcome to App Central. We have a great show for you today, including an interview with Penn Jillette. But first, Maurice has an app that will help you get fit.
That's right, Amber. So this app is called Seconds. And you know, there's apps out there to help you go to the gym, do the right exercises, but few of them actually keep you on track when it comes to the amount of time you spend doing those weights or running on the treadmill. So this is an interval timer and helps to balance out the time and keep you on track.
Okay, all I imagine is fumbling around with my phone while I'm trying to work out. So does it make it easy to at least do that?
Yeah, it makes it pretty easy. So you can choose from 7 preset timers. Some of them are HIT timers. That doesn't mean I'm going to hit you, but it basically stands for high intensity interval training. So you fire up those timers, you can make your own, and then it'll alternate between rest periods, low intensity, high intensity exercises. It's completely customizable.
So are you assuming that you have the phone on you, like with some type of band, or could you set the phone down? What would the process be?
There's different ways to find out when you hit that interval. So it can beep, it can vibrate, it can even give you audible notifications in your ears to tell you, hey, move on to the rest or move on to the exercise. So it's really customizable like that.
Now, does it push you to do a better job? Is it like a personal trainer? Or does it stick to just the timing element?
It just sticks to the timing element, which I think is enough. But if you're trying to keep track of the time in between those sets, you can look down. It's got the numbers really, really big. So I like to leave it in front of the bench and just watch numbers go away.
I feel like I should work out with you. This would be helpful.
Let's do it after the show.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Okay, I have something really cool because the reality is for many parents, many times you have in-app advertisements that go out and they promote an app that you may want to download or an additional app feature that could be very expensive. So my son recently downloaded a box of spiders within a game that cost me $39.99.
You know, that's peanuts because I just heard in the UK, a dad there turned in his son for fraud to police so he could wipe the charges off his visa. He spent $5,000.
Okay, that's very disturbing and you can't get out of this. So I'm going to talk about parental settings on both Android devices and on Apple devices, so like the iPhone, for example. And really simple to do. So the one thing I want to talk about is Android, and I know you're very familiar with Android.
Big fan.
So you may not know this, but when you actually have to get to parental settings, you need to go into the Play Store on your Android device. This may confuse some people. So you get into the Play Store, you click on Menu, and then from there you can control your settings. So you do things like content filtering, what apps are relevant for a younger audience, but also you're able to control if someone can go in and buy an app, delete apps, and do those type of things.
That sounds really convenient because oftentimes parents are just handing the phones to their kids just for a little bit, not really expecting them to spend a lot of money.
Well, what's happening too also is, you know, they're deleting apps, they're doing all these different things, they're moving things around. So on an iPhone, for example, you go into settings, you can do all of this, you click general and then settings, you go into the restrictions section and you're able to do all of that within there. So really simple to do so you can manage how much access your child has to your phone because it's very disturbing when you buy a box of spiders for $40.
Well, I can imagine many parents will take advantage of those tips.
Yeah, very helpful. So we're going to put this on the website so it's really easy to find. Now let's find out what's on your smartphone.
Yeah, I'll show you something called Weather Cube. Gives me the weather no matter where I am. Tells me if it's sunny, cloudy, whatever. Tells me the wind direction. Tells me if it's going to rain. Gives me a 6-day breakdown. You can also like social media it, so you can tweet it, Facebook it, wherever you are.
I have a really cool app called Clear Record. And I like it because it's better quality than iPhone's record system. If you want to broadcast your voice, that's also can have a high quality voice with a clear record system.
I have The Adventure of Tintin. What it is basically you play it like you do the old Super Mario on Super Nintendo. You go through the level, you have to avoid obstacles. I downloaded it mainly because I like the dog in the movie.
For this week's Hot Topic, we're going to talk about the touchscreen generation. Are our kids spending too much time with technology? Now, Andy Walker, you've been in the tech industry for a long time.
Sure.
What do you think?
I think kids have access to these devices. It's unprecedented because, you know, never in a generation before we've seen kids have access to the internet, the information that's available to them. So give the kid the devices. Give it to them often.
Really? What do you think, Maurice?
You know, I have to disagree with you guys on this because kids just tapping away and swiping away, they're not developing those fine motor skills. They're not getting that hands-on technology that you need to build these guys, you know, Lego. And I'd like to think that one day down the road, this Lego is the building blocks that they're going to take to the skills, to real life, to employment, fixing cars, plumbing. You know, and I think these are skills that they need to develop.
It takes a lot of fine motor skills to be able to play Angry Birds, for example. You know, my son plays that all the time. Maurice is hating this. I don't know.
You know that robots are going to run the world, right, in about 100 years. So the kids are being trained right now to interface with robot controls. So Lego, I mean, you're going to have a robot butler who's going to look after your Lego for you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And as a mom, you don't have to pick up all those pieces. But anyway, that's a whole other topic.
My mom loves stepping on Lego pieces, but at the same time, you know, I think it's important for kids to understand what it's like to get out there and experience things that aren't just on a screen. They need to get their hands dirty, get sand under their nails, and, you know, sort of experience life to the fullest. And a bit of technology is good in moderation, especially for educational games as well.
Well, I will say in an article from The Atlantic, there was an author who had spoken about the idea of the 3 C's. So really saying that it was all about content as well as context, for example, and all about your child. So you really need to consider a bunch of different factors. For example, if my son has spent a lot of time outside at the park and he's playing and he loves it, I'm okay if he comes inside and he plays Minecraft for a little bit with his dad. I think that's not a bad thing. But there are some parents who are saying no tech at all, except for maybe half an hour on the weekend.
I have a solution. You have the child run back and forth. They do 10 burpees. They get Angry Birds for 10 minutes. Then they ran back and forth, Angry Birds again. There you go. See? Everybody wins.
But going back to the real-life practical skills, I'd still like to know that these kids have sort of those, you know, that ability, that touch feel, not just on a touch screen, to do brain surgery or to, you know, build buildings and stuff. And I don't feel like they're getting that in real life. And there's also concerns about their social skills. If they're just interacting with people via touch screen, not actually typing anything or writing anything out, speaking to people, things could hurt.
Well, I think you really need to have technology in their lives, though, because I would go with Andy on this particular point, because I think the future is that they will be interacting with all different types of screens, and you really don't want them to be behind.
Yeah, the brain surgeon is going to be cutting into your skull, you know, using a device controlled with a touchscreen. So you really want them to be like masters of the touchscreen. Forget the Lego. You know, when it comes to brain surgery, the devices rule.
They'll be outsourced in a country across the ocean. It's kind of scary.
Well, it's such an interesting topic because I think parents struggle with it. Is it okay if I give my baby my iPhone to play with for a little while? Is it okay if my toddler has my iPad? So let us know what you think. You can find us online on Twitter at AppCentralTV and on Facebook. Coming up, we speak with the mind behind the app that can run your online business and take control of your portfolio no matter where you are. For this week's feature interview, I'm here with Harley from Shopify to talk about their e-commerce platform. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, how did Shopify start?
So about 7 years ago, we tried to build an online store to sell snowboards. And at the time, the software that was out there wasn't very good. It was either very expensive to build an online store, or it was really not very flexible or scalable. So we wrote our own software to sell these snowboards, and very quickly realized that selling snowboards were a good idea, but selling the software itself and allowing people to easily build online stores was a great idea. And we've been focused on that ever since.
What examples do you have of companies who are using Shopify?
Sure, so most of the people that use Shopify, we have about 45,000 stores right now. Most of them are either creators, people that make their own products, guys like Dodo Case, for example, or curators, people that curate really great products and create a bit of a boutique online. And basically we have customers right now, merchants right now in about 100 different countries, and those merchants sold about $750 million last year worth of product and services. So really great stores in a really exciting space.
Now, there have been other services out there that have done similar things. What do you think really sets you apart?
So first of all, our value proposition is pretty simple. We allow anyone that knows how to use email to easily build an online store. We allow people to build really beautiful online stores, even if they're not a designer. And third of all, it's very scalable. So you can start with Shopify, you can scale with Shopify, and there's never a graduation off of the platform. We have stores that do millions of dollars a year, and they function just as well as the guys doing $2 a day in sales.
Every technology company has that one story of a customer who has perhaps used their software and it has really changed their lives and their business. What's the story that comes to mind when you think about this?
I don't think that we have one in particular. I would say most of our stores would self-identify as being small or medium-sized businesses. We also have very large stores like Wikipedia and Gatorade and Google that sell products on Shopify. But for the most part, the guys we care about are the creators and the curators. And yeah, we have lots of those guys.
What's in store for the future of Shopify? Where are things going?
So Shopify really wants to democratize retail. We want to make it easy for anyone with a product or a service to build an online store. And so we're going to continue to focus on the product, making it better, more robust, easier easier to use. And we really want to make sure that anyone that has an idea or wants to start a business has an opportunity to do so.
What has it been like to be involved with this company for a while now? You know, how do you feel about the company?
It's the most exciting thing in the world. I feel so lucky every single day to work on something like this. We've grown from a small team of 3 people to a team of 160 people. Most of us are based out of Ottawa, and it's just been an amazing ride. There's nothing like entrepreneurship and building a startup, and yeah, I just feel very, very lucky.
What advice do you have for other people out there who are getting involved in startups and they're just beginning this journey?
So I'm all about the hustle, right? I think that hustling is really, really important. Don't get discouraged, keep at it. I don't think there's any shortcuts to success. I think you gotta work hard, you gotta work smart, but I would just say tenacity and hustle is really, really important.
All right, for more information about Shopify, all you have to do is head on over to our website at appcentral.ca.
Being a novice investor in the stock market can sometimes be a little intimidating. There's a lot to consider when buying or selling a stock. So how do you keep on top of it all? With data changing by the minute, you need to be able to access your portfolio on the go no matter where you are. That's why the Questrade app is so great. It's the perfect way for the busy investor to keep pace with the speed of the markets. The Questrade app lets you trade stocks listed on both the Canadian and US stock exchanges. You can also trade options, contracts, and exchange traded funds, opening up a ton of investment opportunities. The app offers the lowest commissions on virtual stock trading in Canada, making it an ideal choice for both casual and active investors. Now you've got the right tool to invest, but in order to put it to good use, you need to know how to use it. Brian Acker is an experienced portfolio manager, and he's developed his own trading app too. What do you need to look for when using a trading app?
I want to see 3 things when I get on an app. First of all, I want it to be free, because in this day and age, there's a lot of opportunity for people who have apps to monetize it in other ways. I want outcomes. I want to see basically whether I'm going to make any money following the advice of the particular app. And obviously the third one is I want a community. I want to talk to other people within the community.
And how can you get the most out of your trading app?
So I would actually paper trade myself. In other words, I would experiment with, and there's a lot of apps out there for portfolio management, and I would actually pretend trading and see how I do first. And the second thing I would do is only look at large cap stocks. Only look at stocks maybe like Royal Bank or BCE. If you are wrong and trade them short term, at least long term, you're not going to lose your money.
It always helps to have qualified financial advice when making investment decisions, and that's one thing the app doesn't have. But if you want to try your hand at active investing, grab your smartphone and get started. And remember, if you've got an app you'd like us to check out, head on over to the website and let us know at appcentral.ca.
Still ahead on App Central, we find out what tricks are up magician Penn Jillette's sleeve, plus dive into the world of the creepy crawlies living in your garden. For this week's feature interview, I'm here with Penn Jillette. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Very well.
This is pretty close. I like it. You can stay here.
I will.
All right, so we are going to talk about something a little bit different. I'm sure you're used to people asking you questions about the show you do, both the magic show as well as the television show, but we want to talk about the internet.
Yes.
And your podcast. Let's start there. Talk about your podcast.
My podcast is Penn Sunday School. It's on every Sunday, 90 minutes, kind of four atheists as a rule, talking about stuff. All sorts of things.
And what is it about the podcast category that you enjoy? Because it's different than all of these other things that you do.
It is different. It's very different. It's more intimate. It's a little more long form. It's a little less planned out, informal. I just find it intimate and formal and a little more honest than the other stuff.
And I know you have also done a show in the past on Revision 3,
Yep.
Technology Network, very well known for some of their great web shows. What was that experience like?
I liked that very much. Once again, it was a chance to just speak off the top of my head, speak honestly, and it's very nice, and also with the Twitter, I have several Twitter followers. You get a real constant feedback. It turns into a 21st century conversation, much more so than television or live.
And what do you think is the number one thing that you like about that Twitter experience?
I like the fact, in our live show, we always talk to people after the show. We hang out afterwards. And Twitter kind of allows me to talk to people after media things. And I do try, although I have, 1.9 million people following me, I do try to answer just about every one. I answer 200 or 300 a day. Amazing.
And what is the thing you like the least about Twitter? Because it does have some faults.
I think not much. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with Twitter right across the board. Art thrives in its limitations. I like the limited number of characters, and I like the fact that anyone can talk to anyone. I also like that it's not used very much as an advertising tool. The amount of spam on it is pretty low.
Pretty low. Now, what about the app world? Are there any apps that you use on a regular basis, or do you want to create an app one day, or do you have one?
We have an app. We have a Penn and Teller app that's a really, really good magic trick. It's a wicked good magic trick, and it's just, I think it's called Penn and Teller something. You can get it from there. But it's a really good card trick you can do with a phone that involves you texting to us, and then we tell you what card you selected. It's pretty good, and a lot of people I know use that, and it's great. I use mostly the notes stuff. I care a lot about taking notes on things, and I do take notes on everything that happens.
Like Evernote, love that tool, amazing.
Yeah, I just use the regular, the yellow lined little square thing that comes in all the Apple stuff.
Whatever works. Last question from me. If you could create any gadget in the world to do anything in the world, because you are a magic guy, what would that gadget be?
Lately, I'd be interested in just being able to have a fully balanced meal with no work. Huh. Human Chow.
Love it.
There's an app that just pulled out Human Chow, just took whatever was around and turned it into a clump of food that would just skip you from having to make that meal. Not that I cook, but if I were to cook, I wouldn't like it.
One day it could happen. If you want more information about our interview or any of the links we talked about, all you have to do is head on over to our website at appcentral.ca.
You did that very fast.
Thank
you. My pick of the week is Circa. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the news available on the web, well, you could get it on Twitter, but sometimes 140 characters isn't enough. So meet Circa. It's an app that lets you snack on the news. Circa curates the news into different categories for you. And what makes Circa so great is how it trims long articles into small, bite-sized snippets. These news bits are split up onto different slides. Swipe up or down to switch between the slides. Circa is big on sourcing the information it reports, so you can tap the info button on each slide to see where they got their facts.
My ad pick this week is called Bugs in the Garden. This is great for anyone who's enjoying the warmer weather and wants to get outside and do some gardening. What this app allows you to do is to find all of the different bugs in your garden that could potentially harm some of the plants. It's really simple to use. Basically, you go into the app once you see a bug and you match it up with one of the bugs that's listed within the download. Not only is this fun for you, but it's fun for the entire family.
Up next, Sony's new Xperia tablet goes for a dip in the dunk tank and lives to tweet about it. And fight crime and save the planet one piece of trash at a time. This week's Gadget segment, we have a fish tank filled with water and lots of new technology. Normally, these things do not go well together.
But today, Amber, I've got a tablet that has the virtual goggles on it because it's going to go for a swim. What I have here is the new Sony Tablet, and just look at how thin this is. This is the thinnest and lightest tablet in this range out there on the market today. So if you want to talk numbers, 6.9 millimeters thick, and I'll just hand it to you very briefly.
Take a look.
Isn't that light?
Okay, I think I'm keeping this. I have not touched this before just now, and it is unbelievably light. I love this.
But, they haven't really taken anything out inside because the screen looks fantastic. It's got a quad-core processor, and one of the things I really like, too, if you take a lot of photos, is on the back they have an 8-megapixel camera. And it has a smart auto function that's supposed to automatically adjust to the types of scenes that you're shooting. So I don't have to fumble around auto sports. It just knows.
Very helpful because many times on tablets, they do not have good cameras. So it's nice to have this option.
Yeah, it's nice to have this option and the waterproof option. So if for some reason you're, using this at the end of your dock, or maybe you're at your kid's swimming lesson, and you're nearby water and you accidentally dump it, it should be fine for about about half an hour in about 3 feet of water.
Seriously? That just made my heart sink. Okay, so it's waterproof.
Yes.
It's still on.
It's still on.
It's amazing.
It's gone to sleep.
So if you want to use it in the water, which you would never do, but you have that option, right?
Definitely there. They're thinking of all the options here, Amber.
Now, why would they make something waterproof like this?
Well, you know, in all honesty, if you're using a tablet in the tub, you're having a bath, or maybe in the kitchen, you know, someone's doing dishes and it gets sudsy and it slips into the sink. You lose your technology that way.
Well, I do know that 1 out of every 5 men take a tablet to the bathroom. That's a stat I learned recently. Very disturbing.
Guilty as charged.
Okay, I don't need to know anymore. I have a really cool new device as well. This is a new Chromebook. This one is from Samsung. People have been talking about the Chromebook for a while now. Basically, a nice and lightweight laptop. Now, this is working on the Chrome operating system, which is Google's operating system. I know you have one of these too. What do you think?
You know, I think it's really great because a lot of what I do is using Google. Gmail, YouTube, Google Drive, which I really love lately. It's all there. So this seems like the right departure for me to leave, you know, the traditional tablet or laptop and move on to this if I'm doing everything on Google.
Of course. And, you know, the big thing is the price point. We have these laptops for under $300. It's amazing that we've gotten to that point. They work really well, like you mentioned. If you use a lot of Google products, I do the same thing. I use all of these different products. So fantastic to have a device like this. And also it allows you to store everything in the cloud. Many times on my desktop, I forget to back things up. And this really forces you into that habit of pushing everything into the online world.
Yeah, the keyboard feels really good, and something I like on the back is that they have a full-size HDMI plug. So if I want to watch video on my TV, boom, I don't need an adapter, just plugs and plays.
I should also mention the HD web camera. A lot of people have been saying great things about the web camera in this laptop. Is really wonderful if you do things like Google Hangouts, which is on the Google Plus platform. Very helpful to be able to chat there and have great video quality. So all around, I am a big fan of this for students, for anyone who travels a lot, and, you know, for younger kids too.
Winning.
Very helpful. Yeah. Now, if you have a gadget you want us to review, all you have to do is find us online on Twitter at @CentralTV. We're also on Facebook and at appcentral.ca.
Taking a look at some top apps from around the world, we begin in Belgium to exercise some eco-consciousness with the Trash Out app. This app is for anonymously reporting illegal waste dumping in your neighborhood. Each violation you report is added to a database that helps environmental organizations and governments clean up the mess. You'll receive a badge as a reward after each report you submit. Let's hop westward to Spain now. We won't get lost on the way thanks to the GV Sig Mini app. This app is a collection of GPS-enabled maps you can view both online and offline. It has GPS navigation and a search function you can use to easily find where you need to go, plus a street map view that will help you pinpoint the exact location. Finally, we travel to the fatherland Germany to make some free calls with Uilop. This app lets you make calls and send text messages to anyone in the world, even if they don't have the app. Each call or text uses energy, which is gained by inviting your friends to sign up. You can synchronize the app with your Facebook profile to easily import your contacts. Now remember, if you've got an app you'd like us to check out, let us know on Twitter at @CentralTV.
That's it for this episode of App Central. If you missed any part of the show, you can find us online at appcentral.ca. You can also find us on Twitter and on Facebook.
App Central.
Season
4. On purple.